Hello and welcome to another Tuesday 10 Talk. It's the first one of fall, and before we begin, I'm just going to take a moment and reflect and honor Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who left us over 10 days ago. Left us with a lot to think about. Certainly left us with a legacy that is irreplaceable and has meant so much to democracy, so much to the rule of our land, of our country, for the past more than 20 years. And there's also been a lot to women and the progress that can be made and should be made. And we thank her, we will miss her. And there won't be anybody like her for a very long time. For a number of different reasons. But she fought hard to get where she was, and she gave us quite a bit. Now, given the fact that it is fall, let's say it's officially pumpkin season. I fudged a little of my dates, but it's officially pumpkin season, so go right ahead. Have your pumpkin spice latte. Have your pumpkin muffins. Have your pumpkin beer if you so enjoy that. There's also a pumpkin spiced latte vodka out there. And for you cereal lovers, Cheerios has come out with a pumpkin spice Cheerios. Adding a little flavor and a little sugar to your morning Cheerios, if you will. Now, this Tuesday 10 Talk, we're going to go back and talk about college football because so much has happened since the last time we talked that I feel like we need to address things and throw some things out there. I'm really curious what your thoughts are. So let's huddle up and get a good play going. All right. Now, we are in the midst of the strangest college football season we have ever seen, and hopefully we will ever see again. Now, I'm reaching out to you, my college football fans, to throw some thoughts out to you, because I love college football. It's probably one of my favorite sports to watch, and I'm having a little bit of trouble with this season. You have leagues starting at the Power 5 leagues and some of the lower leagues starting out the season saying they're not going to play. And school starts, college football starts, you have pressure from everywhere, and all of a sudden these leagues are back in the game again. Oh, we're going to play. You have teams forfeiting a match because they can't field enough players because of COVID tests, positive COVID tests. Now, it's all very strange. We're 4 weeks into the college football season. And some big names, some big teams that are usually in the college football playoff for the past couple of years have already lost. Oklahoma, Louisiana State, both lost this weekend. Now, what does that mean for the future? Does that mean in a normal college football season, their chances of getting into the playoff season at the end of the year, the top four, is pretty slim. Nowadays, you got to be undefeated or have a really good record and have a good chance of staying up there with one loss. Now, this season, everything has changed. Let's take a look at the current coaches and AP polls. Take a look closely. Now, tell me one thing that strikes you as odd on those polls. You have teams that aren't even playing. You have teams of conferences that haven't even started their play yet. Penn State's there, Wisconsin, Ohio State. Yes, there are teams that are usually in the playoff picture at the end of the year, but now you all of a sudden have them in the picture. They haven't even played a game yet. And likely going to play less games than the SEC schools, certainly the ACC and Big 12 schools. What does that mean? How does that picture? Big Ten is not going to start until the end of October 24th. And you have Big Ten, Big 12, Big Ten, Pac-12, and Mountain West all saying they're going to play now. Pac-12 is not going to come in until the first weekend of November. 7 games and a championship. Mountain West. Now, Mountain West doesn't really figure in too much, but Boise State has been known to be a spoiler every once in a while. But they're going to play an 8-game schedule with a championship. And then, if you go back and look at the poll, you have lesser conference teams right now in the top 15. University of Central Florida, who is an off and on again perennial top 15 school. What if they go undefeated this year? How does that factor in? Now, if you take a look at the losses by OU and Louisiana State, does not having conference games, the beginning of the season, to mash up upon and to kind of solidify both your offense and defense, how big of a factor are the loss of non-conference games? What do you think? That's my first question to you. How much of an impact has that had? I think it's pretty important because they don't get that time to freshen up, to learn about their teams, to learn about each other. And all of a sudden, they're straight into their conferences and into the big games. OU's got OU Texas in a couple weeks. That's usually like the 5th game of the season. My beloved Gamecocks have Florida next week. That's like the last game of the season, the last conference game of the season before Clemson. So it plays heavily into what has traditionally been, you almost knew what the season was going to look like for your team. And now it's so different. And then we have this whole deal of what happens when a team forfeits a game or can't play because the other team forfeits. Look at Notre Dame. They didn't play last week. They're 2-0. They didn't get to play last week because the team that they were supposed to play had to forfeit because of COVID reasons. And now they're in the top 10. Is that fair? What happened? What if they run the table now? A team like Houston, University of Houston, 4 weeks have not been able to play a game because every one of their opponents had to forfeit the game because of COVID. What are your thoughts on that? Because what if it happens later on down the road? Alabama is going undefeated into the last 2 games. And God forbid one of their team members gets test positive and they have to forfeit a game. How does that factor in to the end of the year? How is that going to be? How is that fair to the other teams that have played the whole season? Now, what about one of these Big Ten teams? What if Ohio State goes undefeated in their 8-game season? But yet, a Big 12 team or an ACC team, Clemson, goes undefeated. They have more games. But yet, does Ohio State deserve to be number 3, number 4, maybe even number 2? All these things. What do you think? Tell me. I'm very curious to know. Now, we get into bowl games. The end of the season comes. We have our teams, those that are still playing. The college football, NCAA College Football Committee has said that every team that's playing will get to go to a bowl game. Now, I really believe that's a fair thing, and that's only this year, obviously, for reasons that we all know. But I think it's a fair reason because if you have decided as a university to put your students, athletes out there and put them at the risk that is still there. The risk is there every day, and we know it. They deserve to go to a bowl game. Now, which one they get to go to, that all jumbles into this crazy, crazy scenarios that we have. And again, we're only in week 4. Some of these teams are still going to have 9-10 games. Not left, but total. Some will only have 7. A school like University of Houston, maybe they might not even get any. Or they might even give half their games. What if a team is under 500? Do they deserve to go to a bowl game? Usually they don't. They have to be at least 500. Again, another question I put out to you. Very curious to what you think should happen and what your thoughts are on this development. Seriously going to have an impact once we get the Pac-10 and the Big Ten and everybody playing. Now, as of right now, we have the usual teams kind of falling out into who's always been top 5, Clemson, Alabama, and they're going to continue to probably do that. You have surprises like University of Miami, powerhouse in the 80s, now coming back. What's going to happen? I'd love to see that. I'd love to see somebody new in the college playoff picture. And I know if you're a college football fan, you would too. Even if you're a Clemson fan, I know you don't want to have Clemson back in the national championship game or Alabama. And I'm an SEC guy. I want an SEC school in that national championship. I know it ain't going to be my Gamecocks, given the way they played, because they're 1-0 or 0-1. And hopefully they find a way this week to beat Florida. But the way those two schools played this weekend, don't think so. Now, my final question. Actually, 2 questions. What happens at the end of the year? First, we'll have the Heisman winner, and then we'll have the national championship. And we'll have a national champ of the 2020 college football season. Is this an asterisk? Should there be an asterisk by those people? Does the winner of the Heisman Trophy, is it diminished at all because of what's going on this year? Because of it's not a full season. Their schools didn't play as many games as they should have. They didn't play their opponents they should have. And what happens if somebody from Ohio State or Penn State or even the Pac-10 comes screaming out of the gate and they're just amazing and they're wowing folks and they are in a title contention for the Heisman? These questions I'd love to throw at you. I'd love to debate. I'd love to see what your thoughts are. So many things to think about. But if you're a college football fan, you gotta love it. And I think this year, more than anything, the positive thing, there's 2 positives out of this. One, we get a longer season because it started later. It's going to go into December. The Mountain West championship game is going to be on December 19th, a week before Christmas. And the other positive is that I think because of the lack of preparation, the lack of non-conference games these teams have, anything can happen. Now, granted, the big teams are going to be the big teams, but the small teams can surprise. There's going to be more upsets than there were usually, and there's going to be some good ones. I thank you for watching. I really want to know your thoughts. Let me know right here in the comments, or if you're watching later, just get at me on Instagram or Twitter, AD_Foster, and let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are about college football and the season, and even the teams coming back later, the conferences coming back later. I'm very intrigued. I'm really excited about the rest of the season. I hope you are too. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and be kind to one another. We need it.